We have a special guest today to tell us the best ways to get ahead on the job. WFMZ Eve Tannery's joining us now with former Marine and author of the new book, No Yelling, Wally Adamczyk. Eve.
Well, good morning, Hasiel. Yeah, a great new book that Wally has written that just came out earlier last month now in October. And some great tips for those people heading back to the workforce or re-entering the workforce. And Wally, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
So tell us, 10 years in the military, what piqued your interest in writing?
Well, what really piqued my interest in writing was my clients. When I got out of the military and I entered consulting, business management type of consulting, and I would talk about leadership and people and productivity, and my clients said, well, wait a second, you talk so much and so easily about this leadership, tell us more. So No Yelling details of the 9 essential habits of Marine Corps leadership that people need to be successful.
And how did you, or why the connection between the military and leadership?
Well, go with what you know. I mean, 10 years in the Marines and then 10 years out in the corporate world, what I tried to do was link what I learned in the military to what I learned in the civilian world. And, all too often people read a book on military leadership and, reading about the Battle of Gettysburg, for example, is not going to help that frontline manager working at the Red Robin down the street or something like that.
And tell us a little bit about how you structured the book. I know you say in the intro that too many leadership books are long on lecture, short on substance, but not this one.
Yeah, I think so many people read and they go, well, that's interesting. And it doesn't apply to them. So what I did is I interviewed 100 Marines, 50 of them on active duty, and 50 of them out in the civilian sector working in whatever businesses and nonprofits and those things, and said, tell me about leadership. So it's laced with their stories. And what the reader can then do is see, well, there's a military example and there's a civilian example. Ooh, and get the linkage rather than say, I can't do that. They can say, I can do that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And those personal stories, I think so many of us can relate to.
Exactly.
More so than a lecture format, as you mentioned. Talk to us a little bit about one of the stories you opened the book with, the snowman story. On the first couple of pages, a real interesting story.
We were out operating, we were on the mainland of Japan, and it started to snow. And I was a tank platoon commander at the time, and 60-ton vehicles start sliding on snow, and we basically called time out. We're no longer in the attack, we're in the defense. And I called my Marines together and said, okay, we're going to be on the defense. Don't know how long we're going to be here. Do something productive. Mm-hmm. I went back to my vehicle and they went to theirs. And, when you say productive to your people, there's a million things that come to your mind, and building snowmen is not one of them.
Right. That wouldn't be first on the list, and that's what they did.
And they did. They were incredibly productive, and my battalion commander had some choice words for me in my lack of leadership at that time. But of course, it was about communication.
Right. And you said in your book this was a major lesson in communication.
It was. It really was, because I recognized it was my fault.
Yeah. And I know Hasiel mentioned in our intro, all these folks in Allentown either getting a new job or heading back into the workforce. And we're going to get into your tips a little bit more later. But what's some general advice for these folks who are, entering the workforce again and trying to get ahead?
Well, the first chapter, and everybody I talked to talked about integrity. Now, that's a word we throw around so loosely these days, but live up to your commitments. It's not do you tell the truth, but do you live up to your commitments? Do what you say you're going to do for your employer. Be there for them on time. I mean, we all have things going on, but their employers count on us. Live up to your commitments.
Great, Wally. Thanks so much. And Hasiel, we're going to get into those tips a little bit more coming up in our next half hour. Just what you need to do to really get ahead in your existing job or a new job that you might be entering into. So we'll have that coming up in about a half an hour.
All right. Sounds like a book I'd like to read. Thank you, Eve.